Hey guys, in today's video I'll be talking now about Hurricane Laura. Laura has now officially become a hurricane. It officially became a hurricane earlier this morning as of the 8 a.m. advisory. And it is still a 75 mile per hour hurricane. Pressure is down to 990 millibars and it is moving to the west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. The 2 p.m. advisory should be out within the next 45 minutes or so. But as of right now, currently we have the most current advisory from the 11 a.m. advisory, and the cone forecast right now for Laura is calling for it to become a major hurricane as it's approaching the Texas-Louisiana coastline. Now, there is still a bit of uncertainty as to potentially if where Laura will make landfall, either towards the Texas side or towards the Louisiana side. Now, models have been trending more towards that Laura would make landfall closer towards the Texas side, so of course that could definitely happen. And as you can see, the National Hurricane Center has issued a hurricane warning now, where that hurricane watch was for around the Houston-Galveston area. Though actually, Houston itself is under a tropical storm warning. Galveston is under the hurricane warning, and then the hurricane warning also extends towards the along the Louisiana, southwest Louisiana coastline, including near the Lake Charles area. And then there's the tropical storm warning extending from where the hurricane warning is through the southeastern coast of Louisiana. And then there's that little hurricane watch as well there for a bit of the central Louisiana coastline. So as you can see, the center of Laura, the center of Laura and the wind field actually expands out from the center quite far. And then depending on, where it tracks, it could track closer towards the Texas side or the Louisiana side. That's really the main thing we're going to have to figure out. Now, let me show you the arrival time of the winds. And you can see for really the Texas-Louisiana coast, you'll want to really be fully prepared for the storm by Wednesday at 8 a.m. because the tropical storm force winds will arrive by around 9-10, I think, probably more like 9-10 a.m. for both coastlines, and then by 8 p.m. on Wednesday, the tropical storm force winds will arrive for more of like northern central Louisiana and east central and east northern Texas. Those areas should be most prepared for Laura's strongest winds for those areas by Wednesday evening and early Wednesday night. Now, here's the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, and you can see pretty much up to 100% chance of tropical storm force wind probabilities for that very southern coast of the Texas-Louisiana border. And pretty much, if you're within the more like gold colors up towards the orange-reds, and then eventually the darker reds and purples, you have above a 50% chance of tropical storm force winds. So that really extends from a little west of Houston through Houston towards the Texas-Louisiana border all the way towards Lafayette and Lake Charles. So that's pretty much really, as of right now, where the National Hurricane Center thinks the bullseye of the strongest winds will go and will most likely be. Here's the probabilities of seeing 58 mile per hour wind speeds, and you can see it's actually fairly high as well because of the fact that the storm is also forecast to be a major hurricane as it's making landfall. So those probabilities are all the way up towards a 70 to maybe even 80% chance. So that's quite significant. So it's going to become a very, very windy day heading especially into tomorrow night for Louisiana, coastal Louisiana, and coastal Texas. The hurricane force wind speed probabilities are also pretty high. They're even up towards a 50 to 60% chance as of right now. And those likely will go up pretty significantly, especially depending on how quickly Laura intensifies further and gets closer to being a major hurricane. I do expect that, as of right now, Laura's a 75 mile per hour hurricane, so it's barely a Category 1 hurricane. But I do expect it to really intensify as we go into tonight, into tomorrow. So I think by the time we wake up tomorrow, we could be seeing Laura as closer towards, 100, 110 miles per hour. So I think it does have the potential to definitely way surpass the current forecast of it peaking at 115 miles per hour. I think it could peak even closer towards maybe 130 miles per hour. So we're really going to have to watch that. Here's the peak surge, and the surge forecast has gone up quite significantly. You can see the newest storm surge forecast. It's gone up to between 9 to even 13 feet of storm surge for that southwestern coast of Louisiana near Lake Charles in those areas. And then extending from there for the Houston-Galveston area, expect between 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, and then closer towards the New Orleans and southeastern coast of Louisiana, expect also between 2 to 4 feet for Lake Pontchartrain, and 3 to 5 feet, maybe even 4 to 6 feet as well. It's going to be a very, very big storm surge flood event with this storm. And then even on top of that, with the rainfall potential, rainfall could get up towards between 6 to 10 inches of rainfall in those orange shades. So if you're just from the beginning of the scale, if you're in the greens, you're anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of rainfall. If you're in the yellow, you're between 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, and then in the oranges, you're between 6 to 10 inches of rainfall. And then there could be the max rainfall for Laura could even get to isolated spots of up towards 15 inches of rainfall. So this is also going to be a big rainmaker, so expect a lot of flooding with this storm because of the fact of how high those rainfall totals are, on top of how high those storm surge could be. So that's really, really worrying. Now let's go to tropical tidbits, and let's look at the satellite imagery. And Laura looks really, really good. You can see, we got to let this load a little bit, but you can see there's a big blowup of very tall convection right around the center there. And in general, it looks very good. It's still maintaining a lot of that tall convection on all sides, really. And the center, I think, is honestly buried within that most tall amount of convection. So I do think Laura's continuing to strengthen even right now as we speak. So, going between now and going to the rest of the afternoon and tonight, we could really see Laura intensify quite a bit. So that's something we're really going to have to watch. Now, here's the intensity model guidance. So you can see all of the models continue to keep it intensifying. And it's pretty much definite that it will get to Category 2 status, even a very good chance that it will get to Cat 3 status. And then there's some that really even take it to near Cat 4 status. So, there is definitely a very good chance that we could see this storm definitely get way above 115 miles per hour. So that is really going to be something we're going to have to watch. Definitely make sure you are prepared if you live along the northern coast of Texas, especially around like the Houston-Galveston area, that area, and around the southwestern coast of Louisiana. Those areas especially need to watch out for this storm the most. Now let's look at the forecast models, and let's look at what the GFS is showing. We got to let this load in, but let me zoom this in actually for you guys. Look at that. GFS really, really strengthens this storm. Wow. This is the newest run, the 12Z run, and it has it making landfall as like a 957 millibar low pressure system. So that's pretty significant. That's around Cat 3 hurricane. But of course, it could definitely get stronger than that. There is definitely that potential. We'll just have to again continue to really monitor this. So that's what the GFS is showing. Again, pretty strong system anyway. Here's what this ECMWF is showing in terms of the vorticity, but we can tell that that the ECMWF is really forecasting it to be a very, very powerful system, as you can see, making landfall more towards the Texas side of the Texas-Louisiana border. And then the storm will continue to move inland and still be a pretty powerful system, as it's really far inland, in fact. So that's very, very interesting. Now let's look at the CMC model, and I'll change this back to the MSLP and MSLP and precip, so we can look at the precipitation, what the CMC is showing for the so you can see as the CMC moves farther out in time towards landfall, it shows it getting pretty strong. It seems like it's getting down towards 980, upper 970s millibar pressure, making landfall pretty much right over Houston. So that'd be pretty bad for Houston, especially since we're reaching the official 3-year anniversary of Hurricane Harvey, which was totally disastrous, just terrible for that area. The biggest flood disaster in Texas history, the wettest tropical cyclone on record. That was for Harvey. That was really bad. I'll never forget that from the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season. So it's terrifying. Or not Marco. Show you the HWRF for Laura. Here's Laura, and let me zoom this out actually so you guys can see this more. You can see it shows Laura getting down to 985 millibars, 958. Really powerful system. Even what is this? A 932? No, 952. Sorry. I mean, it's still showing extremely powerful system and pretty strong major hurricane making landfall more towards the Texas side of the Texas-Louisiana border. But so again, it seems like more the Texas side. If you really live between the Houston-Galveston area towards the Texas-Louisiana border, you guys should be the most prepared, it seems, according to the models. Now let's show you what the HMON is showing for Laura. And the HMON shows the system pretty well rounded, very well organized. And as you can see, as we move farther out in time, we got to let this load more. It's not loading. It's really annoying. You can see its center is quite large. It's very interesting. You can see it gets down to 985 millibars. Man, this is not loading whatsoever. It's very upsetting. 959 millibars, so it's dropping quite rapidly. And it looks like it makes landfall around in the 940s millibars range. Right around, actually, pretty much right over the Texas-Louisiana border, and then starts to move inland with all its heavy rain, storm surge flooding, and just rainfall flooding as well. So the models are all showing a very powerful system making landfall around the Texas-Louisiana coast area. So those guys you guys got to be prepared the most. Really make sure you take this very seriously and make sure you are as prepared as you can try to possibly be, because of course there's the pandemic going on. Just make sure you are trying to get that as much supplies as possible to be able to go without potentially any electricity, any power, any of that for a good amount of days. But the reason especially that Laura is able to really intensify as much as it's being forecast is that the La Nina is continuing to form, on top of which the Gulf of Mexico's sea surface temperatures are far above average, with you can see the temperatures around anywhere between 30 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. That is in the upper 80 degree Fahrenheit up toward 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That is way more than enough fuel for tropical systems to use to really intensify. So that's very worrying. So again, that's another sign that is very worrying about this system. All right, so now to close things off here at the end of the video, we'll look at the Wikipedia page of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. We've had a total of 14 total depressions, 13 total storms, 4 hurricanes now that Laura has officially become a hurricane, 0 major hurricanes. That's definitely going to change now that Laura is definitely going to become a major hurricane quite soon. So we're going to be looking at our first major hurricane of the season now, and total damages is around $6 billion in damage, really, and then total deaths is at 70. Fatalities. And we've already gone through the M name. We've gotten through the M name. You can see the M name on the Marco formed on August 22nd, beating the record for the other M name, Maria, in 2005. Beat Maria in 2005 with the record earliest M name, the earliest forming 13th named storm on record. And it also beat Lee's formation that formed on the same day as Maria in 2005. But Lee formed in 2011 for that record. So that's very interesting. But again, we've gone through the M name already, and it continues to look like going forward through the rest of August, and now we're going to be entering September quite soon. September looks to be quite active as well. So still, everyone needs to be prepared for a very, very active peak of the season. Next, got to be prepared at least for a very, very active another about a month or so. So really, again, make sure you are prepared. Laura so far has killed 24 people, so Laura's become the deadliest tropical system so far of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. Again, it looks like it's going to be affecting a lot more lives and damaging a lot more areas. So again, people living in the Houston-Galveston area towards the towards the Texas-Louisiana border and southwestern Louisiana's coast. Everyone who lives in those areas, make sure you are the most prepared. Make sure you have enough supplies to, if you lose power, make sure you have enough supplies to be able to survive for however long, because really you never know exactly when your power will come back until it does come back, really. So again, make sure everyone who lives in those areas, make sure you are as prepared as possible. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and if you're a first-time viewer and you enjoyed what you saw in this video and enjoyed anything about my channel, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.